he said procurement could kill Ghana, man. Episode, man, putting all that stuff into great music. Wahala Day. You want to listen to that song very carefully and just digest the lyrics for yourself. It's 7:23. So today is the 8th day of the 8th month. Now, back in 2008 at 8 p.m. on the 8th of August, the Olympic Games began in China, Beijing. And you know, 8 in the Chinese language represents good fortune. And so they lined up all the 8s. And if you think I'm lying, you just check out the names of some of these Chinese restaurants. There was a restaurant in Osu called Dragon 88. It was the reason, because the 8 pa is 8 in Chinese. And it also is a word for good fortune and success. And so all the 8s were lined up on this day years ago. This is when Usain Bolt showed us that he was truly the Ogboro of sprinting, everything that he put his mind to, and it was just great. So remember, where were you back then? The Beijing Olympics 2008 in the Bird's Nest Stadium. Remember, 91,000 people, full capacity. It was great. It was great. So just throwing it back for you. But bringing it back to today, where we'll be having conversations on indiscipline in senior high schools at 8:30. And we have a great panel that will deliver the juice for you. So tell a friend to make a date for that time, 8:30 this morning. We'll have a conversation there on that subject. But for now, I'm dealing with the news that's making the headlines this morning. And my guests are seated. Director General for the Internal Audit Agency, Dr. Eric Odro Osai, is here to my immediate left. And seated next to his immediate left is Professor Daniel Bruce, who's a clinical psychologist, and the regular Tuesday panel has been formed. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I missed you yesterday, last week, but I was monitoring.
And the other week.
And the one before, yes, but I was monitoring. Good job. Good job.
Thanks.
I'll start with you, Dr. Osai. What's on your mind this morning?
Thank you very much. And I think yesterday the Ministry of Finance launched 2 documents. One on guidelines for emergency expenditure management. We all know that COVID struck all of us, and people wrote under the banner of emergency to do all kinds of things. The Auditor General conducted an audit, and he came up with a lot of infractions. Learning from that, yesterday, emergency guidelines were developed and launched. So now nobody in this country can hide under the banner of emergency and undertake irregular transactions that violate our Public Financial Management Act. Awesome. Another document that was also launched yesterday was Audit Report Implementation Tracking Tool. External auditors will make recommendations. Implementing the recommendation becomes a challenge. So now, as a country, we have a tracking tool that will track implementation of audit recommendations and make sure that recommendations will be implemented so that irregularities will reduce. Okay. And then finally, riding on that, systems have been put in place to reduce irregularities. However, if we miss that one, then we have this document helping us to implement those infractions. Let me also say that the public sector financial management system, including that of GBC, is making significant progress. We are seeing significant improvement by way of control systems. And the Auditor General's report attests to this. Of all the sectors, the infractions in the irregularities in the Digital Assemblies Common Fund has reduced by about 19%. And I'm very happy about that. We're working towards getting to 0 irregularities. That of the ministries, departments, and agencies have also reduced by 31%. That translates to about 331 million Ghana cedis. Infractions in colleges of education and pre-university educations between January 2022 to December 2022 has also reduced by about 59%, which translates to about 10.8 million. That of public corporation, which is the highest level of infractions, that has reduced, which constitutes a gain, is about 13.8 million. That translates to about 2.4 billion cedis. Okay. That of technical universities has reduced also by about 39.9%. The challenge I have is that of the MMDAs, the local government. Irregularities and infractions in local government has increased by about 48%, and that is a worry. So what it means is that we have to keep an eye on the local governments, because they are the ones that directly are supposed to bring development to the people. They are closer to the people, and if these infractions are increasing, it's a cause for worry. But let me commend the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Alban Bagbin here, that once we realize that irregularities in the local government are increasing, he has quickly relayed audit committee report from this local government to the Select Committee on Local Government within Parliament. So at the moment, the Select Committee on Local Government is meeting with the leadership of all the local government to interrogate their audit report and see what the issues are and how best they can support them. This, I think, is the way to go. And I give the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Bagbin, thumbs up for that initiative. It has never happened under our Fourth Republic, and I think this is an innovation, and he needs to be commended. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Double thumbs up to the Speaker for doing that. We always want innovations. And thank you very much, Dr. Osai, for letting us know what's happening on the financial front. I really like the emergency expenditure document.
This is this.
Awesome. Emergency expenditure management guidelines for public institutions.
That's right.
Awesome.
So nobody
issued Friday, 30th of June. Okay, it's fresh. Very fresh.
It's fresh. Yesterday.
Yes. Even smells fresh, Fresh documents. Yeah, that's it. Really nice. Yeah. Good stuff. We'll read this. Good reading.
Yes, we donate it to GBC.
Oh, this is a donation. Oh, presentation to GBC. Okay, awesome. So, right, we have them here. Audit recommendations, implementation and follow-up instructions for public institutions, of which we are one, and then emergency expenditure management guidelines for public institutions. Fresh documents, all published on the 30th of June this year. Thank you very much, Dr. Osai. Wonderful. I shall make sure that the right people get it.
Okay.
Good. Well, Bruce, what's on your mind this morning?
Thank you. What's on my mind before I go there? Let me throw my arms of congratulations towards my co-panelists for this good initiative. It means, as a nation, and those put in charge of the finances of this country are learning from their errors. One good thing for a human being is to engage yourself in introspection, and then you objectively say that I went wrong here, I did right here. What do I do to right the error so that next time it doesn't happen? If all of us will engage in this kind of activity, I think the whole nation will move forward. And coming down to us individuals, we must also learn to do so. The fact that you are going through challenges doesn't mean you should throw up your arms and begin to behave recklessly. It will not help you in any way. So I think we have engaged ourselves in that, and as a nation. And then if we now thought that the way we went wasn't good, and we have brought this document to be of help to us, we should clap for ourselves and pray that it is implemented, observed, and put into practice so that we can move forward. Now, coming to my real issue,
yes,
I have three distinguished individuals that I want to commend and implore all of us to imitate their behavior. The first one was the former president, His Excellency Flight Lieutenant General John Rawlings. During his time, he introduced, or during his regime, VAT was introduced. I think the public was not well educated and prepared for that VAT. That was the first time we heard the name VAT, value added tax. I think the rate they were proposing that I should take off with was too high, and therefore the public rose against it. The consequences were well aware of it. He could have said, I'm a president, whether you like it or not.
Push it through.
People will tell you, good leaders take tough decisions. That is the margin we are made to implement. But I think he engaged in introspection. I realized, no, much as I want goodness for society, and the conduit by which I wanted it to be done is not well accepted, that was withdrew from the system. They repackage it and introduce it. Today, it's happening in so many ways.
VAT has stayed.
It has
Jerry has gone, but VAT is here.
Yeah. What do you learn from that? When you do something and people say, no, we are not ready, we are prepared for it, you have not educated us very well, just own up, withdraw it, repackage it, educate the people very well, send it back, it will be accepted and implemented. Secondly, another statesman, former head of state, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. At a point, maybe as a result of, we'll be saying it, cognitive impulsivity or behavior impulsivity, he said Kebbi was the capital town of Galamsey. The chief of that area did not take that statement kindly. And so he was asked to come and apologize. And if he refuses, conditions were going to be applied. I'm sure he did the needful. He might have gone with some prominent members to render apology. No matter your status in life, the political authority you hold and the position you are claimed to be situated in, when you do or say something and people say it is not good, just calm down from that level and you go and do the needful by apologizing. It takes people with good mind, good conscience, humility, and respect for people to do this. So we people too must learn from this example that when you make a statement, especially against a given community, and they said, no, what you said against us, we don't like it, come and apologize, no matter who you are, go. You are going to re-establish another relationship with them, and now you can go there and do whatever you want. Thirdly, I also want to commend the chief of Impersum. There was an event in his area. Look at that vast area. His land is where we can find the UPSA, GTech, Chartered School of Institute of Accountancy, Restford University.
Chartered of Bankers.
Look at the area, this meteorological agency, Trinity Theological Seminary. Look at how this chief's land is contributing to Ghana. When an event was being held in his area, national anthem was being played. He couldn't stand up. As an obligation on all Ghanaians to do so when we hear the national anthem being played. The president did not take kindly to that act. So I commend the president for rebuking even the chief in public for not doing something which others must role model their life after. What he did, and I'm pleased, that's why I'm raising it as an issue, is that he was able to drop from his palanquin and render public apology that, oh, I didn't do well. It was my obligation to respect the nation and stand up when the national anthem is being played. I didn't do it, so I apologize. However, this was the reason why I did not stand up. He didn't use the reason why he did not stand up to justify why he was right by not standing up. I think I must commend his council of elders for advising him, and he did the needful. We must look at these distinguished individuals and others that I might not have mentioned this morning, that if we are able to engage in this way, realizing that when you are being called upon or you are prompted, that you have not acted well in this or that, or you have not said this and that very well, you need to render an apology. And it's an example to all of us that when we start this way, Ghana will be a peaceful nation. I congratulate all of them.
Thank you very much, Professor Bruce. So, sending out flowers to former presidents, Rawlings, former President Mills, and then the former President Mahama, and then the chief of Impersum.
Yes.
Who, so just basically, you know, if you've done something wrong, you just have the humility to come back, and then just do it again. I mean, do the right thing. I think that's what I got from his what's on his mind. So thank you, gentlemen, Professor Bruce and Dr. Oduro Osai. You're watching #GTV Breakfast. We'd love to hear from you. So if you haven't taken our number, please put it on your phone. Okay, it's 055-556-1034. You hear beautiful songs like Snufuzio, Eyemamu. Yeah, if you want to hear the rest of the song, go to Facebook and look for GTV Ghana, and you hear the song, the breast milk song, breastfeeding song that Nurse Ruby showed me how to sing this morning.
You said what are you, ma?
Nufusio.
Okay.
Breast milk. Nochi.
I want to get to
no
it.
chi.
Okay.
Breast milk. No is breast in a verb. Chi is water. So breast milk.
So Nufusio.
Yes. How do you say it in Ghana? Breast milk.
That is in Ghana.
Yes.
Oh, that's
for something.
That's
Who are the Ghana speakers? Fufonu. Yeah, it's the same thing. Fufo is breast and nu is water.
Okay.
Fufonu.
Okay.
Yeah. Maltiti will give me the Dagbani word for breast milk. He said, "Whoa." She'll come back and give it to me. I know most of these people I'm about to talk about had a lot of breast milk, and they are now teenagers, and they are making their way to the exam halls, because today is day 2 of the BECE exams, which according to the Daily Graphic have taken off smoothly around the country. Over 600,000 students are being examined in the various subjects. Today is the turn of integrated science and Ghanaian culture and language. So that's what's happening this morning in exam centers all around the country. And it's now, 7:39, so people are probably on their way to the exam centers, probably sitting down around looking at the last apport before they enter the room and go do their thing. So wishing you all the very best. Please remember, cheating is not good. Don't get led into any wrong behavior and get caught out. I was speaking to a student of Ashesi University, and they don't have invigilators. So they go into the exams without any invigilators.
But they use CCTV
But they have no, there's no CCTV camera in the exam room.
Okay.
But they have an honor code. So you sign up to this code that you will not cheat, and you will not allow other people to cheat as well. And guess what? If it is found out that somebody has cheated in the exam room, everybody gets punished. You get deducted marks. So there's an incentive now for people to do the right thing and police others to do the right thing. So I pray for a day where it will happen like this in Ghana, where we don't have to pay vigilators anymore, and people will just do the right thing.
It is already happening in certain second cycle institutions.
Tell me.
You go to Wesley Girls.
Okay.
Wesley Girls keep close. It's happening.
Awesome.
You sign an honor code.
Great.
And they write examinations without supervision.
Excellent.
So it's happening at Wesley Girls.
Great stuff.
Ashesi University is happening. And I know that my own school, Presec, they may want to introduce you to
it will help.
So that the boys will write examination without supervision.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So DEC people, we salute you all. Do the right thing. There was a beautiful story in today's news right here that Maltiti read earlier, and it had to do with juvenile inmates who were also taking
I followed
the
up
exams.
that story.
Yeah. I would like to just bring that story back,
Yes.
so that our psychologist can also give us his take on it.
Yes.
But yeah, so juveniles have also taken their exams, and let's bring back this report that featured earlier this morning on the 6 o'clock news, the breakfast news, right here on GTV Breakfast. Okay, so let me read a bit of the story while we get that story for you. So this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination took off yesterday. 57 prisoners, including 26 inmates of the Senior Correctional Center of the Ghana Prison Service, meant for juvenile offenders of up to 21 years old, took the exams. 8 other candidates from the Kumasi Central Prison, 9 from the Nsawam Medium Security Prison, 4 from the Sunyani Central Prison are also taking the exam. These are all males. They are between the ages of 13 and 21, serving a maximum of 3-year terms for different offenses. And I took some time to go there a couple of weeks ago to support a friend who support the NCCE. They were doing an education program there, and I went there to speak to the boys. I'm glad that some of them are taking their exams. Wishing them all the best. They watch this show a lot, so shout out to all of you. Go do your thing, all right? And a mistake doesn't mean the end of your life. You are paying for your offenses, and then you come back, and then we'll bring you back into society. But this is the story that really touched me this morning.
This is the Bethany Methodist Basic School Center at Jowolo in Accra, with 300 candidates from 8 different schools. It is the center for the inmates from the Juvenile Correction Center.
We went to steal a bag with laptop and tablet. So when they sentenced me, I felt so bad, but I know there is still hope. I was taught at the juvenile center, so it was cool for me. I'm very, very, very prepared, and I know I'll make it.
My case is defilement. I was sentenced 3 years. My first part was interesting and school. I was even to wrote 2021, but because of my case, so I'm fully prepared.
The officer in charge of the Juvenile Correction Center, Deputy Director of Prisons, is Madame Millicent Owusu.
The fact that they are writing the exams outside their homes, or they are in custody and they are writing the exams, we know that it will not be very easy on them emotionally and psychologically. But we have counselors there, so getting to this time, we try to involve the counselors to talk to them, to psych their mind that wherever that you are, you can really excel. And if you are able to excel from here, you move on to the next level, which is the tertiary, the secondary school education. After writing the BEC, when they are able to excel, and which we normally do because we always get our 100%.
The exam started 25 minutes due to delays in the arrival of the papers.
All right, so the juveniles writing the BEC exams. Professor Bruce, as a clinical psychologist, this must be good news, right?
Oh yeah, it's a good news. I think they might have taken their motivation from Nelson Mandela. Like, even though he went to prison, that did not end his ambition of becoming a president.
Correct.
And fighting for the welfare of his people. At a point in life, maybe operator background, circumstances and social acceptations that we may not be able to overcome may lead us to engage in behaviors that will warrant us being isolated from society for our own good. So I think the way the Ghana prisons is treating the juvenile is psychologically appropriate. They may be isolated from society, that at the same time they are telling them that the fact that you did wrong, we have hope in you, that you are born to be a better person. And that alone will change their entire personality. And when they are able to achieve their educational objectives and aims, they'll become better citizens. And they'll become role models of telling people, please don't go this way. So let us help them and then make sure that they pass very well. But my plea, which I always want to put across, is that the way we treat our BEC candidates for 1 week is too much. The failure rate is high, not because of they don't know what they were taught or they did not revise very well. It's because of the pressure we mount on them. It took you 9 years to study. They are doing the BUBRA system. They are not fetch everything, give an account of everything you learned for these 9 years. BUBRA. Not like the same, BUBRA. Not like the semester system. The BUBRA means from the beginning of class 1 up to where you are, give an account. Let's see how knowledgeable you are and how you can remember those things that we taught.
But BUBRA is beer, draft beer.
That's what the name we give to such examination.
It used to be the situation at the University of Cape.
Is it the point now? So even adults, they were collapsing at the university level. Anytime they were writing exam, there must be ambulance standby, because they were expecting that somebody will collapse for not able to recall things that he has learned for the 4 years.
Is your problem with the duration 1 week to do 10 subjects?
The 1 week duration,
to do 10 subjects?
Yeah. Technically, they're writing 4 papers a day.
Yes. Essay.
An objective.
Essay,
2 papers.
Yeah.
Where do we subject these strong ones? To such academic pressure.
I was also wondering why they start with the essays first. I would have thought we start with objectives first, and then relax for your essays.
The essay is more demanding.
Exactly.
Even the objective title, you have to read the entire contents. It's not pick and choose stuff. You have to read everything. Yeah. So the objective is more demanding than the essay.
Oh, okay.
The essay you can specialize. You see the point? So we want to appeal to Ministry of Education and Ghana Education Service that at least let's extend the period to 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that they write 1 paper a day.
Or give gaps. Give gaps. Monday your papers, Tuesday rest, Wednesday, because there's no time to really refresh.
Since in time immemorial, we are putting unnecessary pressure. We are happy to release the failure rates. You see the point now? There's something you call proactive forgetting and retroactive forgetting.
Break it down for me, Prof.
You see,
break it down
for me. The proactive forgetting is that what I'm learning now will cause me to forget what I learned yesterday. Because I'm preparing for religious and moral education, it will lead me to forget the second paper that I'm going to write now, or what I revised yesterday. Because I'm going to write that paper this morning, it will prevent me from remembering the second paper that I'm going to write. So the children, they suffer all these things. And when that happens, you can see the kind of anxiety they go through, sweating, handshaking, and all that. They cannot concentrate and write good essays and calculate very well to choose the right answers for the possible answers that are given them. So we want to appeal that they are our children. Students in university are older than these students, but they write
gaps.
Sometimes 3 days, 3 days after before they write another paper again. You write one paper today, 3 days time before you go and write. Why are we treating them, giving that kind of academic favoritism as against these junior high secondary school students?
For someone who doesn't know what we're talking about, so this is the timetable. So on Monday, 9 o'clock, you had religious and moral education essay. And then at 10 o'clock, you are having religious and moral education objective. Then you have a 3-hour gap. Then 1 p.m., you are doing English language essay. And then 2:10, you are doing English language objective. That's Monday.
Pressure.
Then Tuesday, which is today, 9 o'clock, integrated science 2, which is the essay at 9 o'clock. And then you have integrated science objective 10:15. Then Ghanaian language and culture 1 p.m. Ghanaian language and culture objective 2 p.m.
Yeah.
That's Tuesday. Wednesday, same formula, same time, social studies essay followed by objective, and then in the afternoon, basic design and technology BDT essay followed by BDT objective. And then Thursday, boom, 9 o'clock, maths essay. I wonder why we're writing essays for maths, but that's another issue. Essay for maths on Thursday at 9 o'clock, followed by maths objective. Then you have ICT, Information and Communication Technology, at 1 p.m. essay, followed by objective ICT Thursday. And then Friday, French in the morning at 9 o'clock, and then French objective 9:45, and we are done. So it's back to back to back to back to back.
Look at the time you close from the examination center.
Yeah.
It depends on where you are staying in
Exactly.
Accra.
So recovery is not, there's not enough time for recovery.
They don't sleep. They don't rest.
But don't
So
you have
that 1 week-
psychologists advising them on these things? I mean, there must be some effect on this back-to-back.
Yeah, that's why I think I'm a Lone Ranger in fighting for this.
Oh, you've been fighting this fight for a long time.
I have made mention it to the Deputy Minister of Education at the point we met in the worship center in Dansoa.
The Reverend.
Yeah, the
Tony
Reverend.
Fojo.
The Reverend, yeah, in Fojo.
Yes.
He said, oh no, there was a sense in what I was saying. But I have not seen anything about it. In fact, next year, the students might write their exam for 2 weeks.
So there's enough time to
WAEC
recover.
must be ready to accept the change.
It's a good point. Good point. I mean, as a former BEC exam candidate, I would love to hear from you. Those of you who were the BEC already and had this crammed kind of timetable, did it help to get all the torture out of the way, and then you know that 1 week, boom, you do it, and then you are gone? Or you would have wished it was stretched over a period of time so you could have enough time to refresh your mind. Prof gave a beautiful term where you learn something and then you forget the one.
Proactive and retroactive forgetting.
Proactive and
retroactive forgetting.
So we'd like to hear from you. 055-556-1034. Dr. Osai, any thoughts on the juveniles writing the exams, and then even what
I think
Prof. Bruce talked about?
Yes, I'm happy.
Juvenile offenders, yeah.
I'm happy they are writing the exam. The essence of the justice delivery system is to reform and to correct. And you can see that all leaders, most of the leaders we've had, our former President Rawlings was incarcerated when he attempted his coup, and he came back from jail to become a leader. Nelson Mandela, same. Even Kwame Nkrumah, same. So the fact that you have been incarcerated now doesn't mean the end of life. It means there's something you need to learn. Learn the lessons out of it and move on. The only thing is that do not forget the lessons this is teaching you. And I'm very happy about that. My only challenge and plea to the authorities is that they should put in place a progressive arrangement that will not truncate the process they've started. Currently, they are doing the BEC. After BEC, what next? There should be an arrangement that will give them hope for the future, that they would have the opportunity of either doing a WASI or joining any of the TVET groups so that they can acquire a skill. Then after that, those who want to progress to the tertiary level, we have technical universities, and then we have other mainstream universities. If you have this progressive arrangement there, and you lay it out, and you inform them, and you conscientize them, the enthusiasm and the innovation alone would help them appreciate their situation and give themselves up for this particular activity. I know you said maximum 3 years. What it then means is that by the time the person leaves the correctional center, the person may be writing WASI or have written WASI. What arrangement do we have to provide post incarceration support to enable them progress, apart from the integration part, to enable them progress. You know,
maybe like private candidates.
Private candidates sort of having a social protection arrangement where the universities have a slot for such people, and then if it is medicine, if it is law, you lower the bar a little to allow them, so that we can have people you see, people with such background, when they become lawyers, they learn a lot and they have passion for the profession. So we should consciously, as a nation, be intentional about supporting these people. Once we put in place a calendar or this arrangement in place, I think it will help. You go to other countries, it is there. So I don't know, if we don't have it as a country, please, let us put in place a progressive arrangement that encourages these people to take up the challenge of developing themselves. Let them continue to feel relevant to society, but also let them learn the lessons from the current predicament.
Okay. Any comments on the jamming?
As for the duration, I want to agree with Prof. Because even at the Institute of Chartered Accountant level, previously we were doing that. 4 papers, 2 days, you are done. And people were failing. The failing rate was so high that nobody wants to. Previously, people were skeptical about writing the Institute of Chartered Accountant examination. And, you know, there's a popular slogan that CA can kill. But now, CA cannot kill, because we've changed the whole system. It is liberal. You write a paper a day. It is flexible. And we have manuals and all of that. So I think that Ghana Education Service should listen to what Prof is proposing. If possible, we should not look at the cost implications, because it is better we err on the side of quality than quantity. Okay. This is very important.
All right. Just reading a couple of notes on that notice that had the information about the dates. So they said both papers 2 and 1 for each subject are to be taken at one sitting without a break. So I'm piling more words on your head, Prof.
Yes.
So there's no break. They're just running them together. For when the duration indicated on the question paper differs from what is on the timetable, the one on the question paper should be followed. So this one is for you, BEC candidates. You may have had your information on your timetable, but if you go into the room and you see a different time, please, according to WAEC, follow the time that is indicated on the paper. Really important. And then I like this one, to extra time for candidates with visual and hearing impairments. They will be added an additional 50% of the time allowed to other candidates, so that they are being friendly.
I think it's very important here. It's very important here, and they should give them special care, special attention. It's very important.
So they get 50% of the time. Or if it's a 2-hour thing, they get 3 hours.
It's good. I'm happy about that.
So hey, shout outs to all of you who are writing the exams today. All right, integrated science, Ghanaian language. Do your best, okay? And then if it doesn't go well, listen, there's always another time.
Definitely.
Okay? It's not the end of the world.
No, we even have the private BEC that can be written by them. So that's
you do well. All right, you do well. We did for you. Just a few more points on education. Get Fund is now giving more for local students in terms of 2022-2023 scholarships. It's the front page of today's daily graphic. 4,729 students of various universities and colleges are going to get money. This is 63% higher than the 2,704 recipients for last year. So last Tuesday, the fund paid a total of 25.3 million of the annual fees on behalf of the awardees enrolled in undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate programs of the various universities. So good news there on the Get Fund front. And finally, there's another story on education that I want to give to you before we go. It has to do with the free SHS policy. So one Professor Odro, I don't think it's any relationship to our Odro who is here, because yours is a middle name, right? So Professor...
Former VC.
Yes. So I'm looking for his story. But
the provost?
Yes. So he's basically talking about, his headline is, free SHS policy, red flags were ignored, says Professor Odro. We want to know what kind of red flags. Okay, so that's it. He's a professor of educational leadership at UCC. Professor George K.T. Odro says that political ideological differences must not limit national discourse for quality in all sectors, especially the educational sector. And he says politicization of educational governance has impacted negatively. And he's calling for a national stakeholder forum devoid of party colors, to be created for constructive integration of issues. Prof. Bruce, I mean, this is just it's a correct call, isn't it?
Oh, yes. It's an indirect call. We need to support it. We should not bring politics into educational matters. Yeah. It will take away the shine of the objectivity of what we wanted to do. Prof is a very brilliant student, my senior, a first-class student, and he's a deep thinker and a philosopher. So when he's speaking, we give him that respect that actually he has thought through what he's saying. So I also would like to support him. But however, he's talking from the same university that awarded honorary doctorate degree on the president of Ghana for bringing a very good educational system and transforming the educational landscape of the country. Where was he? If he's talking that now red flags were ignored, the University of Cape Coast did not see those red flags. And then they awarded honorary doctorate degree with great appellations, academic appellations on our president. Were they fooling him? Or these red flags were not there before they were awarding the doctorate degree to him? So please, see, let's be truthful, and just as he's saying, was UCC playing politics with our education by awarding honorary doctorate degree on our president, praising him that he brought free senior high science school and is doing a great job, the educational landscape has been transformed? He's part of those who took the decision to award him. So please, he's not coming back. Maybe like I said, you can engage in introspection and say that no, what I said some time ago, or I was a party to this and that decision, I didn't think the decision was good. So he's calling for a good dialogue that we must all keep on discussing and finally implement it.
Okay.
We should watch the red flags. Actually,
should watch the red flags. I'm going over to the screen right now because it's still education. This one was a troubling story. It has to do with money and a JHS headmaster. And so some final year students of Buduata Junior High School in Gomwa East, and this is from myjoyonline.com, in Gomwa East District were left stranded at the start of their basic education certificate examination yesterday after their head teacher allegedly squandered money meant for registration fees. The students who couldn't take part in the exam were seen crying bitterly over the situation. Meanwhile, the headmaster of the school was nowhere to be found. Speaking to the media, some aggrieved parents who gathered at the school premises expressed their frustration about the development. The parent stated that her ward informed her that her name and index number did not appear on the centers list and thus she was denied the opportunity to take the exam. Another parent agreed that putting the students in such a situation after all their preparations was unjust. Quote, "Your ward is going to write exams and has prepared only to be told at the last minute that their name is not included. How would you feel if they were your ward? It's painful to enroll your child in school for such a thing to happen." And he called on the head teacher of the school to rectify the problem. They want the government to step in to deal with the headmaster in order to prevent a similar situation. According to him, when they called the head teacher to inquire about the problem, he questioned who he was on the phone with and provided no information. I don't understand how this can actually happen.
Yeah.
How do you register?
Yes,
as a parent, you've done this recently.
Yes, I've done that before. You see, Kaf, I'm surprised if this is true. Then it means there were some control lapses because you register, you the parent, you go and then sign, and then after that, what I know is that if it is a public institution, it's government that absorbs the registration fees, exam registration fees. So I'm surprised they said they paid. And along the line, before they even go to write the exams, you, the parent and the student, you would have to go to the school and confirm the index numbers and everything. So what it means is that almost all the parents relaxed. They did not follow through. And the question I'm asking is this not a public institution? Is government not absorbing their BECE registration fees? If government has absorbed it, why should they pay? And if government has absorbed it, why shouldn't they register them? So these are questions that demands answers. But I think the government would quickly have to step in, get WAEC to find a way of getting the students to write the examination.
Big time. Yeah. It's not their fault.
It's not their fault at all. We can't destroy it.
I side you.
100%. Messages on this, on all we've been talking about, mostly education. So this is from Professor Agboka in the US. Story of juvenile inmates participating in the BEC is such an amazing development. It gives true meaning to efforts at reformative and restorative justice. Of course, these pupils and students are carrying a lot of baggage, so they have much to overcome to succeed. Time will tell. However, certainly it's a development we should sustain and improve. So kudos to the prison service and GES for coming together to make sure that incarcerated juveniles get to further their education. Sure. 05555561034. If Lex says, I agree perfectly with what your panel are saying concerning the BEC exam. Seriously, we put too much pressure on students for nothing. I'm a teacher and I think this thing should be looked into. We overburden kids too much in this country. Alex Williams enjoying our show right here. Alhaji Dawuda is asking Dr. Eric Odron a question. Because you talked a little bit of finance and money issues earlier on. He says, what's the difference between expenditure management guidelines and the use of a budget line, money listed for some expenditure used for urgent needs of an organization to be refunded? Alhaji Dawuda, Madina Estate.
The expenditure management guideline is emergency. He took off the emergency. Emergency expenditure guideline. It's a guideline to guide you in the management of emergency items. Okay. But the emergency budget in the budget is a contingency created in anticipation of the emergency.
All right. And Alhaji Dawude is enjoying your dress sense today. He says he likes your fabric.
Oh, I see.
Does it have a special name?
Oh, this from Woodin shop, so we can get to Woodin.
That's all. That's all. Catherine Malandrino and Nim, you agreed totally with Professor Daniel Bruce. Even though we have written our BEC already, it wasn't that easy because of writing 2 subjects a day. And then I was writing mine. I hardly learned the 2 subjects at a time, science and maths. I learned science and then I forgot about mathematics. So they should please extend it to 2 weeks for them. Thank you very much. Yes, so all of you BEC graduates, please throw it back. Let us know what your experiences were back then. Good morning, Patrick says. I'm enjoying the show, especially the views of your panelists, and he's greeting JDM. JDM is not here, but well, your message will get to him. I'm sure he watches this show. Good morning, Kaf. Yes, somebody is giving us his experience. Thank you so much. We want more. 05555561034. My name is Curtis from Amasaman. I wrote BEC in 2014 at Amasaman Senior High Technical School. Our hall was an uncompleted building that didn't even have windows. The wind that was blowing was so wild that if you didn't hold your papers and put a weight on them, they would just be blown away. But I had a classmate who was sweating so much that he had to be advised to take off his uniform and continue the paper in his singlet. In a room that was windy, you can imagine the kind of heat the man was generating through pressure, stress, anxiety, and
he's forgotten all his.
My brother, your sweat glands will now work overtime. No pay. They're just producing water. And in a windy room, my brother,
it's not easy.
The guy is in a windy room.
Do you know that it's difficult to fail than to pass?
Yes.
Very difficult to pass. It's difficult to fail an exam than to pass.
You need effort to fail.
You need effort to fail.
I'm telling
Serious.
you.
And what you go through before you fail is another matter.
You see your whole life flashing in front of you because the paper is not yielding anything, man. You they see nothing.
But it happens with the ICE examination. One of the ICE examinations I wrote, somebody has written it 5 times. The paper came, and ICE examination, you have to attempt all. The paper came, the gentleman opens question 1, he can't question 2, and said, and then Subim. That was it. The guy slept throughout.
No, that's the end.
He's written 5 times, taking leave, and he's denying his family his time, and 5th time he came question 1, question 2, question 5, and then Subim. Today again. And the guy slept. For the 3 hours, he slept throughout. And then after that, because they were not going to allow him to leave. So you suffer to fail an exam.
Wow. The wind was blowing so wild that if you didn't hold your papers and put a weight on it, the papers would be blown away. But I had a classmate who was sweating so much that he had to be advised
to write in his
take off his uniform and continue the paper in his singlet.
It's not a joke.
I believe what your panelists are saying will do us all great good. They are offering about 8 subjects, just like those in senior high school. So why can't they also be offered the same writing duration as those in senior high. I believe strongly that the top people, the authorities, if their children were also going through this public system, they will understand it. I have a sneaky feeling that a lot of them are doing the international exams.
Well, we have most of them.
Which don't stress people out.
No, we have, on the contrary, my research tells me that with the politicians, most of their children are in the public, writing BEC.
Do they like this? Do they like
They don't.
this system?
But you see, it is rather the technocrats, the chief directors and the directors.
Yeah.
They have their children in those.
schools. All right. We'll pause on the messages for right now and go to Alan, because Alan has something that is quite worrying. Not on the level of somebody sweating in a windy room, but let's go to Alan, Dara Alan Tego. Keep an eye guy on the streets of Accra, and he's keeping his eye on something that you need to be aware of. Alan, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yes, so you count me down when Kafui starts introducing me.
He's right here. Kafui is here. 4, 2, 1, 0. Kafui is on. Let's go.
Hello, good morning, Kaf, and thank you very much.
Is that fish?
All right, Kafui, thank you very much for coming to me. I didn't get you, Kaf. I'm really very desperately sorry. All right, so Kafui, I'm coming to you live from Korle Gonno. And behind me, Kaf, in the distance is the old Lavender Hill, where Accra's sewage used to be disposed of into the sea. We're not looking at that this morning. Rather, we're looking at an interesting public health issue relating to fish. Those of us who like our traditional and local delicacies, especially those of us who like Keta schoolboys, must be worried about this report this morning, because behind me on the pavement in the Greater Accra region is an attempt to preserve fish. Fingerlings they are, and this, when dried, will find its way to the public market, where members of the public are expected to spend money, buy them, and consume them. Kaf, the worry is this. On this same pavement, you have free-range animals playing around. On this same sidewalk or pavement, you also have men and women who train for sports activities, training here every morning. Not only that, on the pavement, you have someone whose car is broken down and has left it there. I can bet my last dollar that this vehicle will be serviced on the same pavement before it will move, which means that if there is any dropping of oil, it will drop on the pavement. This is not considered when this fish come here to be dried by the women or men who bring them on here to dry them. But the interesting question is this, Kaf, why do they choose the pavement to dry their fish?